But aside for additional items found in the rental car being omitted, Anta's credit card transactions on it later is presumed to have been used by Marwan al-Shehi being left at Boston, in which the white Mitsubishi rental car quickly discovered by authorities on the day of 9/11 was due to an early tip from a traveler who saw Middle Eastern men get into an altercation near the rental car, which was reported continuously by NBC News the following day and afterward.
As rescuers toil, another high-stakes effort is underway to find those responsible for the carnage. NBC's Chris Hansen reports investigators are making swift progress.
Authorities may have identified some of the actual hijackers, and here's how they think they might have done that. Yesterday, they got a phone call from a passenger who had left Logan and arrived at his destination. Of course, he saw on the television monitors what had happened at the World Trade Center. He called investigators to say that he had had an altercation with two men he described as being Arabic in the central parking garage near the American Airlines terminal here at Boston Logan. He described the car that they were near, which was turned out to be a rental car, a Mitsubishi sedan. Investigators arrived at the sedan, took a quick look, and they found inside that there were flight training manuals in Arabic. They were able to connect that sedan to two men who are now identified as brothers, both of whom have passports from the United Arab Emirates, one of whom is a trained pilot.
The quick discovery of the vehicle first subsequently put the 9/11 dragnet on the trail, with Boston police raiding downtown hotels the next day on September 12th, primarily at Westin Hotel. In the afternoon, it was reported that 3 people were detained, 2 of them being females with reportedly suspicious items such as hair dye, which was thought some of the other hijacking suspects used before the attacks, but that the rooms they rented at the Westin were linked to the same credit card used to rent the white car at Logan.
This was the FBI terrorist task force made up of FBI agents, Massachusetts State police officers, working the Logan airport leads from this terrorist case. A paper trail led them from the Logan airport to the Westin Hotel, where they believe one individual had rented 2 rooms. They were very interested in looking at those rooms to discern if they could get evidence there. That would be rooms 1403 and 1404, both on the 14th floor. The FBI agents and Massachusetts State Police arrived. They got hotel security to get the keys for both rooms. As they made their approach on the 14th floor to the 2 rooms, suddenly 3 individuals came out of one of the rooms. The agents backed off, let the people go by them, and at the elevators they took them down. At that point, they say...
you don't mean took them down the elevator, by the way.
No, I mean took them down as in felony arrest style, right. Put them down on the ground, placed them in custody, 2 females, 1 male, and they began screaming in Arabic, according to people on the scene.
Plus, the bomb squad was also called out. Reports indicated that the 3 suspects were not arrested, but no clarity was brought if they were still detained on INS charges or other circumstances. Early reports from ABC on the scene indicated that one of them may have been injured.
Well, Peter, I am outside of the Westin Copley Plaza, a 35-story hotel and shopping complex which has been evacuated, and the crowd which is gathered outside is being pushed back further and further from that hotel. The bomb squad, or a bomb squad vehicle, is in front along with 2 ambulances. And the police here are not saying anything, but in talking to a number of people in the crowd, they say they saw what appeared to be an individual being hustled by a large number of heavily armed police officers into a vehicle and driven away. Several other people said they have seen a civilian taken away on a stretcher about 45 minutes ago. One person I spoke to, with the caveat, of course, that this person is not among the authorities, says he heard 2 police officers speaking among each other, saying that they had taken into custody 1 suspect, and that, in the words of this person, the other one was dead or wounded. And he added that one of them had driven a cab for 15 years.
According to the Boston Globe, September 13th, an employee at the budget car and truck rental office inside the Westin said several Arab guests at the hotel who attempted to rent a car yesterday morning were considered suspicious, prompting the call to police. However, reports the next day said they were let go, and the FBI would not comment. But Boston's WBZ4 Beth Germano, extensively covering what was going on at Logan, she also reported this detail about the suspects detained from Westin Hotel.
And when heavily armed agents entered the Westin Hotel yesterday, it was because of a trail of credit card receipts that may again be linked to hijackers. When the FBI and Massachusetts State Police surrounded a Chestnut Hill motel yesterday, they were looking for more evidence that terrorists may have stayed here. At least 3 people were detained in Boston and later released, though the Attorney General says there's no way of knowing yet how many associates remain at large. WBZ News has now learned that the 3 individuals questioned by police in Boston yesterday and released were taken into custody because they had the same last name as Mohammed Atta, the man who has reportedly emerged as a prime suspect.
Police had also searched this Chestnut Hill hotel outside of Boston, which became an official place where brother hijackers Waleed and Wael al-Shari of Flight 11 stayed at. Early reports indicated that police and FBI confiscated an additional vehicle there, even though the 9/11 Commission report says the brothers had rented a Ford Focus that was also left at Logan Airport parking lot, and no images of it have ever been made public. And in the interest of this film not to focus so much on the official flights, whether it be aeronautics, piloting, or addressing the complete hijacking scenarios, there are still a lot of issues that need to be explained as far as problems regarding hijacking roster, and the phone calls from the flights indicating weapons used that is contrary to the official version, as well as not a complete chain of evidence with no CCTV video released from Logan, all of which we'll address further ahead. But as more widely known as where 2 hijackers stayed on 9/10, the day before 9/11, which was out of state, aside for a couple alternate lodging choices in the Boston area before September 10th, the remaining 8 hijackers are supposed to have stayed at the Milner Hotel in Beacon Hill, the Days Inn Hotel in Brighton, as well as Park Inn Hotel in Chestnut Hill. All Boston area hotels where presumably the hijackers either took rental cars or taxis to Logan Airport the next day. But the problem here is that none of the official 9/11 hijacking conspirators are said to have stayed at Westin Hotel. The official story says that Marwan al-Shehhi and 3 other hijackers shared a room at the Milner Hotel, with the other 4 staying at Days Inn and Park Inn hotels. But from the news reports I've sifted through viewing the FBI dragnet extensively after 9/11, I've seen no coverage so far reporting investigators on scene at Milner Hotel nor Days Inn, at least not from the limitations of live news collections from YouTube and especially archive.org's Understanding 9/11, a television news archive, which extensively covers all the main news networks that day and following week of 9/11, included with local news channel Boston WBZ4. Brother hijackers Ahmed and Hamza al-Ghamdi of Flight 175 stayed at this Days Inn, but al-Shehhi is said to have stayed with 3 hijackers between both flights, Flight 175's Fayez bin Hamad Mohand al-Shari, who are said to have accompanied him as part of his team, plus Flight 11 hijacker Satam al-Sakami, which is an interesting arrangement being that a few days after the attacks, it is reported that Satam al-Sakami's passport was famously found at Ground Zero, in what is often described as pristine condition. It's also interesting that ringleader Atta's right-hand man is often said to be fellow Hamburg cell member al-Shehhi, when it also seems that Atta falls into the same category of leftover evidence as al-Sakami, because it was reported in October of 2001 in Florida and other newspapers in that the FBI confirmed a Conch Republic passport was issued to Mohammed Atta there. And according to the book The Star and the Sword by Wayne Madsen, this alleged passport was found in Ground Zero, making it the second hijacker passport allegedly discovered there. The Conch Republic is a micronation declared as a tongue-in-cheek secession of the city of Key West, Florida, from the U.S. in 1982. However, till this day, Atta's novelty passport from there never surfaced in any of the 9/11 investigation evidentiary exhibits. But what is also unusual and makes it more suspicious with the circumstances of al-Shehhi staying at Milner Hotel is with something I briefly pointed out in previous film work, utilizing the mini-documentary Unsafe at Any Altitude, in that al-Shehhi and his fellow Flight 175 team member from the United Arab Emirates, Fayez bin Hamad, were seen in Virginia at Dulles Airport on September 10th, the day before 9/11, along with 3 other Middle Eastern men, one of them being hijacker Nawaf al-Hazmi of Flight 77 that struck the Pentagon, and some of them were also dressed in United Airlines ground worker uniforms, all seen by Argenbright security employee Eric Gill, who also had a rude encounter with them as they were having troubles accessing an exit point into a restricted area open to the concourse where the airliners are parked, which as an exit point could mean that the 5 men just arrived from another flight. And according to the 9/11 Commission report, upon Marwan's second entry into the United States in early 2001, he spent a greater part in the beginning that year residing in Virginia. But the point being, Marwan al-Shehhi with Fayez bin Hamad are supposed to be well prepared in Boston, Massachusetts the following day to board, hijack, as well as pilot United Airlines Flight 175 for all the world to see live crashing into the South Tower. And that's also a pretty long commute with a short time window to travel in between and be prepared. This possible circumstance with Al-Shehi and Ben Hamad, if there was more evidence to explore and not limited to Logan, may seem to be a similar fitting modus operandi as to what also Mohammed Atta and Abdelaziz Al-Amari's actions and unnecessary route of travel the day before is all about. But unlike Atta and Al-Amari, this situation with Al-Shehi and Ben Hamad is not part of the official story, where Atta and Al-Amari in Maine are.